Hello and welcome to the Winners Found a Way show. I am your host, Trent Clark. Today's a special version of Winning Ways, and always excited to talk about some shops, some techniques, some styles that we're using and seeing in the market, and always makes me feel good as we develop our content and develop leaders out there. It is a fabulous show. Today, I'm a one on one talking about winning ways and how to win. I am super excited about this episode. I'm going to play a couple excerpts in a two-part series today from a talk I did previously in the year. And I always love going out and talking with entrepreneurs, athletes, military, and big conventions, that people that are there to improve. I always love that side of things, and it's such a fun time. Always love having everybody on, so I appreciate that being here. Lots going on in the show today. Always, you DM me, we can talk about daily impact. That is a offer we do. I am Trent Clark, the serial entrepreneur, and a three-time World Series coach, as most people know, and I am the author of Leading Winning Teams. And I have a booking. If you want to get on today and do a talk with me, you can jump on there for 15 minutes, get unstuck in your business or in your organization, the challenges you're facing in leadership. I'm happy to take that call with you. Get on my calendar. And if you get on that calendar today, I will send you a copy of Flourish, which is the playbook on how we do a lot of business growth. And I am a growth coach with Bloom. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. When we talk about what we're doing out there in the market. A lot of people always ask me about the rings, right? What is the weight of the rings is a big deal, because when people hold the ring and they hold that up, they go, man, this thing is so heavy, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, it's not light. And so when people are putting it on for the first time, they're like, man, how do you wear this thing? It's so heavy. And so, I went to two World Series before I won a World Series. So, we were always learning and adapting, and that was a big deal. And I kind of adapted, wearing other rings that were not quite as big as the World Championship one. So I was learning as I went. You can see a little bit of background on me about all you guys know the Winners Find a Way podcast, of course, and I am the author of Leading Winning Teams. But most people don't know is I spent my whole life with the 3%. My family, I have 5 kids, all this stuff going on, and so I always talk about the journey of excellence to start, which is where I developed the champion's mindset, and it's really just a happenstance of my experience, which was I went. My high school played in 3 state championships, my sophomore, junior, and senior year. Then I played in 2 national championships as a tennis player in college, and then I went on in my first 4 years out of college. I went to 2 World Series. So in those 7 years, or in those 11 years span, there were 7 championships, and there was only one win in that whole thing. Like my sophomore year, and I didn't get to play. So it was a crazy time. I was auditing excellence this whole time to try to figure out what is it that like makes everybody go. What is it that um, you know gets everybody in that position to win? How do they position themselves to be champions? And so I always ask people, what are you dreaming about? Like, everyone wants to win. What do you want to win? You want to be the first chair on the violin? Do you want to, get into the best school and win? What does that look like? And so I'm always asking people, like, what are they dreaming about? Like, is it this life of freedom? And a lot of entrepreneurs are doing that. Like, I want freedom. I want to know that people got my back and they're covering all the things that need to be done in my organization. I got high quality people. So we're going to talk about that. So I love the line from Maximus, right, in Gladiator, and he's getting ready for battle. It's early in the show, and they're going to do the big battle, and he's going to go out and give his speech. And I love his line: "What we do in life echoes in eternity." Like, what a line, right? But what are we here for? Like, what's our purpose? So, if you're dreaming about something, I think that's where I've really had that advantage of becoming the dream maker, which is fun. And my first mentor was, I was a freshman in high school. I got invited to a showcase camp, and it was with a former major leaguer. And I had a great camp. I was made the MVP. I got to sit down with this guy, and I was super excited about talking to him, see if I have what it takes, right? And when I sat down with him, he said, hey, what do you want to do? And I told him I want to do what you did. I want to go. I want to play in college, and then I want to play in the majors. And he says, yeah, man, I think you can do it. And I was dumbfounded. I was like, man, no one's ever told me, yes, this is what you can do. They told me how hard it is, all the roadblocks, all the few percentages that I'll make it. Had one of those dumb, high school kid moments. I was 15, and I just said, with all due respect, everybody else is telling me no. And he was like, wow, who are these people? And I was like, my mom, my gym teacher, my this person, that person, all these things that were going through my mind about who that person was. And he was like, wow, math teacher, any of those people play in the major leagues? And I was like, no. He's like, my first lifelong lesson. Hey, I'm going to caution you, Trent. Be careful who you take advice from. If you want to do something in this life, you should go find people that have actually done what you want to do and get advice from them about the path to it. And he had done what I wanted to do. So I was talking to the right person, right? And so that was a big step for me, and it was a good first lesson. Today on the first part of this journey, we're going to kind of cover this: the advantage of hyperlearning, the choice of the pain exchange, and beware the four losing behaviors. Tomorrow we'll cover how winners find a way. We're kind of on winning teams, and we'll talk about legacy in part 2 next week on the podcast. So today, athletes advantage, pro athletes, special forces, entrepreneurs. I've been around all these people, and they're hyper learners. This is what separates them. They have to learn fast or you don't survive. This is the big advantage. And the athlete advantage is you get coached by the best. So this is a huge advantage when you go in, you make those elite levels, the best you get the best coaches. So that becomes people with a bunch of experience passing that down. And if you're coachable, you move faster. And so that 10,000 hours becomes 8,000 hours when you've got the right coaching, right? Like leading you, closing in on your journey faster, keeping you on the path. And that's a big deal. Strict training and feedback, that's constant. Strict training goes in, you're very efficient with your time. We're going to use our time and maximize it. And then you get a bunch of feedback. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? So that coachability and adaptability comes in very quickly. Then you get time management. There's only so many hours in a day and you have to use all of them. And the athletes know that. They're busy. So this is a huge advantage to all these three categories. And then you're going to have to be resolute. You're going to have to persevere. It's not going to go the way you hope it's going to go all the time. You're going to face adversity. You're going to face challenges. So you got to work through it. And there's no quit, because you have to be resolute to find a way. And this is why we name it Winners Find a Way, right? Winners, when shown data that they're losing, find a way to win. They persevere. They figure it out. They become hyper learners. They're the fastest and strongest, because they can adjust and adapt quickly. They're learning on the fly all the time and ready to make adjustments. And they've worked through those reps. Like, if I have to adjust to this, I know how to do it. If I have to adjust to that, I know how to do it, because I've trained in all these categories of what I might have to adjust to. So I'm not adapting to something I'm not ready for. Then it becomes an entire learning community. Everybody's learning. Everybody has to go fast. So it fosters more and more learning. So here's the choice, right? Um, I love, Hebrews 12:11, which is, the famous quote on discipline, right? And we're always looking at that. And the choice is to do what you're supposed to do. That's the first choice. Do I do what I'm supposed to do? The second choice is, do you do it when you're supposed to do it? That's a big deal. Okay, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. But you know what? I'm going to wait till tomorrow. How's that going to work out for you? Like, if you're supposed to do it today and there's a deadline, and we see this, right? We pay bills. If you don't pay it, they're like, oh, there's a penalty. You did what you're supposed to do, but you didn't do it when you're supposed to do it. So there's a penalty for that. The way you're supposed to get it done. Are you choosing the way, the best way, the most efficient, showing up every day with high value for people and getting it done the way it's supposed to get done? And that's a big deal, because everybody is out there. Your bosses, your managers, your coaches, all these people are out there showing you the way. And then what they want you to do is, when it's time to execute, You make the choice to do it the way you've been taught, the way you've been trained. People go, I don't like the way you do it. I want to do it my way. I hear that all the time. I want to do it my way. Hmm, okay. Well, everyone has trained up and learned it for so long, and now you want to do it your own way. I get that. Good luck with that. It's not going to be easy, but you can choose that. But when you do it your own way and it doesn't work, the way they've trained you up, the way they're experienced and trial and errored so many repetitions, and then you do it your way, that's not going to land favorably with everybody. So you can take that risk. There's a lot of risk in doing it your way. And here's the pain exchange, right? I did a whole TEDx talk on this. There are two pains in life: the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. And here's the deal: you choose. You choose which one you want. You know, no one's immune from pain, and no one's immune from regret. And the pain of discipline is acute, meaning it is short-lived. I'm going to go train hard. I'm going to hurt, but tomorrow I'm going to get better, and in a couple days I won't be sore. Short-term pain. Pain of regret is chronic, long-term pain. Oh man, I wish I would have done this. And we have these moments in our life. We make bad choices, and they have significant consequences, right? And those consequences stay with us, right? I think about people who, get they attract something from somebody else, right? Like they have a moment in time and it's a moment of weakness, say, and then they attract something from somebody else and they pass along their challenges and their diseases to somebody else. It's like, oh man, I shouldn't have probably been there in the first place. I made a pretty poor decision. And now there's the pain of regret because you have chronic issues with that. And it's like, these are the challenges we face in our lives. So I talk about this, and I talk about that exchange, and that life of discipline is highlighted in 1 Corinthians 9:24-27. Read through that. Check that out. Listen to the podcast on the TEDx talk. You're going to enjoy that. The choice is that there's one discipline. And what I see in like one discipline is that people understand focus. They understand self-discipline. They understand what I have to do and what's up. So, the morning routine is a big deal. How do I start my day? And if I start my day right, I avoid the four losing behaviors, which are excuses, blame, quitting, and ignoring the data. And we have organizations, we ourselves have done all these four things. No one's immune. You've made excuses of why you didn't do something or when you were supposed to do it. You blamed others why you didn't get it done in time. You quit when it got hard. You didn't understand. You didn't do the prep. You didn't have the reps. You quit. Or sometimes you're just taking L's and you're ignoring the data that you're losing. You're ignoring, like, I'm just going to keep, staying here. If I stay longer, maybe it'll change. I'm not going to do anything about the data, but I'll just stay. And I think we do this. We make these choices. So I had this choice, right? I stood in an unemployment line in 2010. In 2005, we were a couple games away from playing in my fourth World Series and being a part of the fourth World Series. I was coaching with the Angels. We were playing the White Sox in the American League Championship. And, I just sold 1-800 Got Junk. I owned all of Arizona and a bunch of franchises. I'd sold that business off. Things were pretty good for Trent Clark and the family. I was making investments. 2010, everything crashed in 2009. Everything I'd worked for, all those things, I still had some money, but I had no income. I was out of income for one whole year. I was out. And so I went to unemployment and stood in line and got food stamps for my family because that's how tight cash was. So choices I made. I mean, there were other things I could have done to avoid that. And why do I make that? I mean, I positioned myself and this is where I was. And it was so hard to believe that after all the things I'd learned, that I would position myself that now I had to do that. So when we talk about how to win, these are few tips. Everybody wants to win. Okay, so how do we win? Whatever we repeatedly do, we become. You've probably heard that. You've probably heard those famous quotes, right? Whatever we repeatedly do, we become. Habits of the deal, the daily grind. This is how we do it. And what am I becoming? What am I becoming? You got to ask yourself, these habits are forming. What are you becoming? If your habit is to sleep in until 10:30 every day, what are you becoming? You're becoming unemployable because you can't get up and get a job, right? If you're getting up and working out from 5 a.m. to 6:15 every morning, you're becoming fit. You're becoming lethal. You're becoming this person who's got preparedness, ready to go, and it's amazing. And ultimately, I tell a lot of folks like you are responsible for your results. They'd love to have somebody else responsible for them. You know what? I didn't get the promotion because um, my colleague Bill didn't get me information fast enough, and I always look like I was slow on the job. You're gonna blame your promotion on someone else? Like, you are responsible for your results. You have to take hold of that. You have an internal locus of control. Something happens, you can do something about it. Take action. And this is how folks win every day. A lot of the challenge when I have people want to come and work with me, I'm asking them right away, are you interested? Or are you committed? Are you interested in doing this or are you committed to doing this? Because interested is talking about it. I'm interested in losing weight. So I'm thinking about getting a better diet. I'm thinking about joining the gym. I'm thinking about changing and going to a healthier grocery store where maybe I would only shop for more produce and some things that would be healthier for me. And maybe I'll even, I'm considering getting a workout partner. Well, all those things are great. Except the challenge is I'm just talking about it. I'm not doing anything. Now, if I'm committed, I'm up at 5 o'clock. I already have all that produce in my fridge. I'm ready to go. I got smoothie at the run, out the door. I am prepared to eat healthy for the whole day. I'm prepared to have time for my workouts. I'm prepared to drink more water, make better choices. I'm committed to my health. And interested is talking about it, and committed is doing it. If you go out to dinner with me and I order horrible, terrible foods that are all high in fat and a big sugary dessert, am I committed to being healthier and in shape? Like, probably not. So, like, are you interested or are you committed? So, here's my caution. A lot of people are like, hey, I'm going to do this. I got willpower. But willpower is going to last for about 3 or 4 days. And then it's going to get hard, right? Discipline is not easy. Accountability partners. This is why people try to self implement their workout and they do okay, but they miss some gaps and they don't know all the information. If they hire a professional, they go get a trainer and they go work out with them 3 days a week and they're very focused and all the workouts are having much more results. They're getting way better production in that hour than they would on their own, and they're getting pushed to another level that they can't push themselves. So the efficiency becomes a big deal. Don't rely on willpower. Don't rely on your own knowledge. Knowledge is great. We read these books, we don't take action. We read all these books. Oh, this is so good for me. I'm going to get this. I'm going to do this. You got to take action. Now that I've read it, what will you do about it? Read my book. That's great. Do the pain exchanges at the end of each chapter. Like, please take that and do that. And then the I can't. I hear that all the time. Like, can't, just I will. The people that we want around us are the people that will say, I will. Hey, our cleaners can't come in this week. They've got an issue with their vehicle. Can someone clean out and take out the trash each time? Yeah, I will. Who are the people that will say, I will? Who are the people that will step up and go the extra mile? Be that person. Because the person like, I can't. I don't have time for that. I can't. I got kids to pick up. Oh, I can't. You can keep making all the excuses in the world, or you can be the person that says, "I will," and you'll take action. So what I want you to do right now is you got one thing that probably you just need to stop doing, and that would be a great action for today. Take one thing that is not moving you in the direction it is. Is it sleeping in? Is it eating at 11:30? Is it not getting enough sleep? And is it getting to bed on time? Like, is it preparedness for your day? Is it speaking more to 2 or 3 people in your organization that need better communication? What is the one thing that you need to stop doing that's not great for you and where you're going? And that's a great thing for this week. Take that one thing and stop doing it. Just stop. It's a habit that is not helping you. And so let's do that this week and get that done. I'm gonna pause there for this week. We got a lot more to cover next week on winning, some tactical stuff about how you're gonna win. How do I set my day? How do I go through these things? And I think that's a big deal. A lot of people are not doing that. They're not spending that time intentionally. So let's have a week of being intentional. Let's have a week of getting out there and um, thinking through a couple of things that where we really want to be. What are we spending our time? And the one thing that we're going to stop doing this week. And then we're going to check in next week. And I got a couple more things for you, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about the daily impact, what you're going to do every day. If you could do that, you're going to create a lot of movement and action towards your goals. And everyone's talking about, man, I started these goals in January and I was all excited, and and now it's March. And most people are out of it. 10% are still working on those goals. 10% are in their New Year's resolution in March. Like people don't even remember what their New Year's resolution is. Today is March 12th. People don't remember what it was. That was 72 days ago. Like, come on. Where are we at here? Like, that's 10 weeks. Let's think about, like, what are we doing intentionally? Because winning ways and how to win is showing up every day and doing it on the daily. So let's do that. Because if you win the days, you win the weeks. If you win the weeks, you win the months. And if you win the months, you win the quarters. And if you win the quarters, you win the years. But it all starts today. What do you do today to win? So that's what we're going to do today. You're going to stop the one thing, win today, do that for me. And as always, on Winners Find a Way, we'd love to have you. Thank you for joining us, of course. And when we talk about winning ways, we want to give that content all the time. And down below, you can find all the move for Andy Whittier. Nationals are coming up next weekend for USA Skeletons going on off in Lake Placid next weekend. It's going to be a lot of people going to be out there. Big moment for all the USA Skeleton crew. So that's super exciting. Please give to Andy's cause. He's got his new book coming out, Life Head First, and that's going to be awful exciting with Sports Faith. They are raising money to keep Andy in the game, and he's moving into the Army to help support our forces and continue to work on his Olympic dream. So we're just happy to here to support him a little bit. If you, again, click on that link, you can book a call with me. Here's my Calendly, Trent Clark, and /15 minutes. Jump on my Calendly. If you jump on, I'll help you get unstuck. We'll have a 15-minute call, and I will send you the playbook on Flourish. Also, buy my book, Leading Winning Teams. Find it on Amazon, all the major networks, all the big bookstores. You can find it. So check it out. And until next time, we will see you, and winners find a way.